Well, hello, my scary little friends. Welcome to another edition of Ghost Stories Told from the South, episode 73. I'm your host, Stephen LeBooth. I'm here to scare your socks off of ya. I hope everybody's having a good week, and it's scary time. Only a couple more days till October, but I got some good stories for you guys. But, like I said, welcome to Ghost Stories Told from the South. I'm your host, Stephen LeBooth. Welcome back to episode 73, guys. Wow, can't believe I'm still going doing this, but I love it, especially this time of year. It's cool. I got the perfect weather to tell you some scary stories. It's starting to get dark. Some storms are coming in right now, so it's kind of cloudy, and you see some lightning in the background, so it's some good skelly weather. But hope everybody's been having a very good week out there. And I just want to say our numbers are growing dramatically, and I want to thank everybody for that. We had like 100 downloads the other day. In one day. That's freaking awesome, man. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. But it's all good. Been finding some good stuff. This is the last story that I think this is South Carolina I'm in. Yeah. Yeah. This is our last South Carolina, and it's the last regular stories because October's coming. So what I'm going to do for October is tell you some of the creepy stuff that happens in my town and in my county. Yeah, it ought to be fun. I'll do a couple stories, couple legends. See what happens, mate. Well, without further ado, I guess we'll get on with it. All right, guys. Hope you don't get too scared now. Get back, kick back, get a blanket, get you some hot coffee or something. Sit back and listen to some ghost stories with Stephen LeBooth. All right, fellas and ladies, we have our first story, and it's the Salem River Church. Oh, the Black River Presbyterian Church. All right. The Salem Black River Presbyterian Church. Okay, this is in Sumter, South Carolina. Let me turn my gong down a little bit. The house of worship, commonly called Brick Church, was founded by Scotch-Irish settlers in 1759 on land given by Captain David Anderson. Originally a log meeting house was replaced by a frame building and named the Salem Presbyterian Church in 1768. The first brick church was built in 1809 and used until 1846, when the present church was built of brick made on the grounds. The old session house in 1846 in the rear contains a large library given by James McBride Dabbs in 1862. And he gave him land for the cemetery dating from 1794 was given by Robert Witherspoon in 1830. Among the notable ministers to serve its church was Dr. Thomas Reese, a scholar, a teacher, and a preacher before the American Revolution. In 1867, the African American members withdrew from the church and made their own, calling it Goodwill Presbyterian Church. The church is one of the first brick buildings built in the state, and it was supposedly built around 1846. This place has a dark feel to it to some who have entered its gates, and sometimes you will even get a feeling of fear rush over you. From the church's creek rival, it is a solid. Its solid columns stand tall. Its brick walls scaling over you. The cemetery mossy atmosphere, full of trees and thick brush. It was easy to say that spirits did not rest here. The church's worship hall even has a slave gallery, and who knows what type of evil could have been committed to its grounds. Many call it the Southern Bell Ghost, but there are more spirits that await within the church's grounds. It is said that the church and its 2 graveyards are haunted by a priest from the 19th century. Him and his family even walked these grounds. A plague had came over his family and killed everyone except him, and he was the last member alive. During this time, he began to curse God, started satanic rituals and stuff, and committed satanic mischief within the church grounds. Wow. So the guy went from straight up loving God to straight up evil. There's an old shack behind the church that apparently was he used to be his it used to be his. Some have said that they have seen a solid dark figure standing aside while the lights are on. Considering there is no glass on the windows or on it anywhere, it can be seen easier. The first cemetery apparently just has normal people buried within its grounds, but the graveyard in the back is where all the priest resides through. That just has normal. Oh wait. Anyways, sorry, I messed up. That's where all the priests are. That's where all the priests reside. Though that cemetery seems to be covered by thick brush and many plants and trees to get through. There are some people that have said once they have gotten to the far end of the first graveyard to the gate in the back, they could hear slight talking whispers coming from those trees. Pretty creepy. So behind the original cemetery is another cemetery, and apparently you got to go through a bunch of brush and trees and stuff to get to the old one. And then when you get there, you hear some damn voices. Not cool, man. Though there seems to be one active spirit which has been seen, it seems to be the lonely spirit of a little boy. He appears to be in between the ages of 6 and 8. He's often seen near the front of the graveyard, near the front gate, and is described as being very sad and depressed. Some have said to have heard a faint crying sound coming from the gate, and by the sounds you can tell that this spirit is in pain and grieving. Little boy might have lost his life too soon or something, you know what I mean? This is a guy talking, this isn't me. Right here. With my experiences at this church, I have noticed my phone and camera batteries being completely drained, along with an overwhelming feeling that I was being watched. I know for sure that I have seen a figure in the very back that looked like a man's figure, but I shined the light a bit, and I did not, in that direction, I did not see anything. But when he did when he did flash his light over there, he seen something kind of dash, like, poof, that he was getting out of the way. He has also heard a faint crying sound. I have not yet to see the woman that is claimed to be there, so I cannot say that she is there. I wanted to walk through the back and see the gravestones, because I have seen some unmarked graves out there. But once I got close to where the tree lines path to the back, a very cold chill ran down my spine, and a cold rush through my a cold rush of air brushed against my face. So he didn't go any further. And yeah, that's a creepy old place. Apparently, one of the priests that was living there went cuckoo, because his family died from the plague and all that, and he's still pissed about it, I take it. Well, gonna get on with its second story. Let's see, what do I have for you for my second story? Let's see what's in my bag of tricks. See if this is a shorty or kind of a long one. Hey, it's about a good 5-minute story. Sorry. It's a hit and miss sometimes. But okay. This story is about the ruins. The ruins in, I know, South Carolina. Okay, well, it's in it's these ruins in South Carolina. So, yes. Okay. These are some haunted ruins in South Carolina. These ruins are not real, as they are left over from the filming of the movie The Patriot. However, many people have said that they have heard and felt strange things as they pass by them. I'm sure they are quite bone-chilling creepy when you see them in person, just standing there in the middle of the swamp. That's 170 acres preserved in gardens is located in excuse me, in the Monarch's Corner, and was originally part of the 1750 Dean Hall rice plantation. The spot has been featured on a number of television shows and movies, like I just said. The ruins are used to be one of the most haunted places in South Carolina, and many visitors have claimed to have heard and felt strange things while wandering around the preserve. Sorry about that, guys. Got a little tick in my throat for some reason. But this place has a rich history, as you can tell. It was a plantation, so they had slaves and stuff, and was probably very mean to them. So, like, their spirits are there, and people that have died there through the years, and then when they go make the ruins for a show and leave it, it's kind of creepy. So, Yes, that is the ruins in Monarch, South Carolina. All right, we're going to do story 3. This one's a little shorty. This one, I couldn't really find a whole lot of big stories on it because there's not much about it. It's the abandoned mansion in Santee, South Carolina. Santee, South Carolina. One of the most terrifying things about the abandoned mansion is how little that is known about it. No one is sure when the location was built or when it was abandoned. In fact, there are no government records at all regarding this house. It exists. It's entirely off the map and is only known as the abandoned mansion. And while it may otherwise appear to be a pretty house in need of some upkeep, this isn't all about the story. It's often reported that lights have been seen flicking in the upstairs windows as people have passed by. For a house that is abandoned, it seems to have a lot of activity. Yeah, people will claim of seeing people walking around the house. People will claim seeing lights like that flicker in the house, but there's really not much on this house, and that's weird. It really don't even exist on the map, and they would show you all this, and yeah, there's not much on it. I mean, just that people go in there and see stuff, hear stuff, so it's definitely a little creepy. A little creepy. Okay. This is our next story. Story 4. It's kind of weird. With that house, there's no records or nothing on it or anything. It makes you wonder what happened there to make people just want to take it out of existence. This is the Oakwood Cemetery Hells Gate in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Okay, the Oakwood Cemetery Hells Gate, Spartanburg, South Carolina. The Oakwood Cemetery. The Oakwood Cemetery is nicknamed Hell's Gate. Is one of the South Carolina's oldest and largest cemeteries. It dates back to the 1600s. If I'm thinking right, this cemetery has a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in South Carolina. It is home to a number of ghost and paranormal activities. Well, yeah, look at the history of the place. I mean, that does crack me up. I don't know how many times I've read a story and it said this is the most haunted place, and so. But that just goes to show you there's a lot of haunted places out there. You just gotta go look. Okay, where was I? Oh, it is also home to satanic rituals, too. There is a place in the back of the graveyard down a hill named Putter's Field where it is said that people perform satanic rituals during the witching hour. However, it is also said if you see them, you should not go down there or around them. You also should not go alone. They do not take kindly to strangers and have been chased and tried to hurt the people passing through. Many people apparently describe the grave sites as well and have seen dug bodies up and have stolen skulls. Many people have reported that when they pass through, they have seen people in the potter's field with skulls. pretty creepy. This cemetery is close to Converse College and has been known as a place for those looking to add a little bit of excitement in their lives. The oldest part of the cemetery is said to be the most haunted, which, according to others, seems to be the children's graveyard, or part where the poorest people were buried. Many have mentioned having fully charged cell phones and cameras completely dying out. Even experienced ghost hunters that have come to this area have claimed their equipment was drained of power by being in the cemetery only for a short while. The others have claimed to have been touched, seen orbs, felt cold spots, and even drops of temperature in a lot of spots. Seen shadows. Many have claimed that there is something out there that waits and watches from some unseen vantage point. They've heard children laughing and singing. Some have been said to have seen the ghost of the children playing among the tombstones. That would be creepy. Man, this place sounds pretty cool to go check out, guys. It might be worth it. Scare the freaking pants off of you when you see kids playing. Its place seems to hold a very eerie feeling, even a sad feeling to those who have been there. Well, no shit, it's a fucking cemetery. What do you think? It's going to be cheery and all nice? And all cemeteries have that sad feeling to them. I've never been to one that had a happy feeling. I myself have been to this isn't me talking now. I myself have been to this place, but like I said, I wouldn't recommend going there alone if you choose to walk through, not only because of the spirits, because of the living. How'd you like my scary laugh? You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Okay. Now we're going to go to... this is North Carolina. This is in North Carolina. And this is the Devils Tramping... the Devils Tramping Ground. Okay. The Devil's Stomping Ground is a 40-foot diameter circle, completely absent of life. Nothing will grow here. Leave something in the circle, and legend says it will be thrown out the next day. Apparently, the devils need plenty of room for dancing at night. The Devil's Tramping Ground is located 10 miles from Silver City in western Chatham County in North Carolina, I believe. It is a foot-wide bare path bearing a perfect circle 40 feet in diameter. Regional legend mountains that Satan frequents this area on his nightly walks, pacing the circle as he complains his evil deeds. Normal vegetation surrounds the circle, but only wiry grass grows inside it, and no plant life of any kind can be found on the path itself. Locals have been unsuccessful in trying to transplant the wiry grass to another soil. Visitors have attempted to anchor sticks and other obstacles in the barren area, but morning always finds the obstacles cleared away. In addition, the Devils The devil certain explanation numerous. Anyways, in addition to the devilish explanation, numerous other theories have been aroused to account for this strange North Carolina landmark. Some people believe the spot was an ancient meeting place for the local Navajo American tribes who made their burial circle with ceremonial dances. Another explanation links the area to the legend of the lost colony of Roanoke Island. The story holds that the tramping grounds was an area called Goroton, named after the fallen tribal chief buried there after a battle. In the word Goroton, carved in three of the Roanoke Island trees, referred to its as a battle site. In most of these stories, the tribal gods purposely preserve the burned circle as a memorial to their followers' loyalty. Scientific explanations for the Devils Tramping Ground have been offered as well. Some say horses used in the operation of the old Maloas mill created the spot for the constant circulation trending. However, comparisons to the paths formed at similar mills do not support its theory. Possibly the most explanation is from soil studies once conducted by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. Samples of earth taken from the bare path proved to sterile due on it an extremely salt content. The remains of natural salt licks are also found in the area too. So, if you're ever in North Carolina, go check out the Devil's Tramping Ground. That was a pretty good story. People say they've heard some crazy stuff out there. And there's always got to be devil worshippers. Why has there got to be devil worshippers? Why? Why devil worshiping is around? I don't know. All right. Now we're going to go over the Brown Mountain Lights in Bragg County. I believe this is a South Carolina story. I hope I'm right. Okay. Let's get on with it. Brown Mountain is a low ridge in the Burke County that during a dry, crisp evening in the autumn is host to a genuine, baffling mystery. Okay, let me stop. Sorry about that. That was Lexi calling me. Okay, on a nice, crisp autumn night, it is host to a genuine and baffling mystery. When conditions are right, the mystery of the glowing orbs can be seen to rise up off the mountain. However, the wobbly about 15 feet up and wobbling about 15 feet up in the air and then disappear. There's no denying that the lights are real. They have been observed by countless witnesses, photographed on many occasions, but they are still unknown why they're there and why they come out. The Brown Mountain Lights have been observed for centuries, and multi legends have risen around the phenomenon. The Cherokee were aware of the lights, and according to some accounts, claimed that the lights were the souls of Cherokee women searching for their men who have died in a great battle between the Cherokee and the Caddobe that took place on Brown Mountain. Another legend says that the lights are the ghostly echoes of lights that appeared during a search for a murdered woman in the 19th century. But what was once the most widely known legend was recorded in a song in the 1950s by the duo known as the Sweethearts of Country Music. Scott Wiseman and Myrtle Eleanor Cooper were both North Carolina natives who sang and recorded as Lulu Bell and Scotty. From the 1920s until the 1950s, a married couple. The two performed together from 1935 until 1958 as regulars on the Chicago radio stations. The song Brown Mountain Light, penned by Wilson, tells a version of the story where a man occupied by a slave where a man occupied by a slave becomes lost while hunting on the mountain. The man is never found. The slave returns to the mountain every night with a lantern to hunt for him, carrying on its search even from beyond the grave. Wiseman, who was from the nearby Boney, said this version of the story is one handed from his uncle who took him hunting and camping near Brown Mountain. The song rose to the top of the country charts and became best known version of the legend for generations. So in that story, there was a guy with a slave out there hunting or something. He got lost, so the slave goes back every night to look at him. Look for him. All right. As far as the lights, many different possible scientific explanations have been offered, from swamp gas to the reflections of automobile lights from the valley below. But every explanation offered up so far seems to be easily to disapprove. Yeah, because number one, how are you going to get fucking swamp gas in the middle of the forest? But who knows? I'm not a scientist. They might be right. But they're not. The lights have been observed since before automobiles existed, so headlights are in explanation that you can just throw out the window. And the lights were even observed during the 1916 flood that shut down all automobiles and railroad traffic in the valley below. The swamp gas theory seems to be slightly hobbled by the complete absence of a swamp. So they're like me, there's no swamp there. Some have theorized that the lights may be a natural occurring electric discharge caused by the slow movement of the geological fault line below the mountain. That might make sense. It just might. Whatever their cause, people still flock to see the Brown Mountain lights, but spotting them is never guaranteed. Reportedly, your best chance to see these lights comes on a dry, clear night in October or November, after all the leaves are off the trees. That is pretty creepy. Kind of cool, though. So if you're ever around, go check out the Brown Mountain lights. That's what I do when I'm bored. I always check out the Brown Mountain Lights of Brown Mountain, Mississippi. No. Okay, I got another good one. This might be a good long episode. Okay. We got the Great Dismal Swamp. Okay, the Great Dismal Swamp is one of the largest wilderness areas on the eastern seaboard. It covers parts of southwestern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina. Back in the days, George Washington, the swamp encompassed millions of acres of marshy land, but centuries of human habitation have disrupted its natural ecosystem. Numerous ditches and canals have been carved into the land, the earliest finished in the late 1760s. Was a 5-mile long ditch and known today as the Washington Ditch 1. The longest, called the Dismal Swamp Channel, took over 2 decades to complete. Constructing such an artificial waterway requires draining existing lakes and rivers and looping trees from their surrounding woodlands. As a result, today, 112,000 acres of swamp remain. To the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge oversees the preservation and protection of these precious remnants. I mentioned that the Great Dismal Swamp was briefly in our post on... Oh, never mind. I ain't reading that. 2 famous poems. There's been poems written about this place by Edgar Allan Poe called The Lady of the Lake. And there's been... What did I just see here? Okay, there's been writers too, like the one book's called The Great Dismal Swamps, anyways. He wrote a book about it. And Lake Tremond is located in the center of the swamp. And Robert Frost visited the lake and wrote a book about that. There's another book called The Tale of Dismal Swamp. Okay, and then of course some more guys that wrote poems and stuff. Dismal Swamp. Well, I should have read better because it's really don't tell a whole lot about it. In the river, when the Dismal Swamp was finally complete. Okay, the Dismal Swamp was complete in 1814. Geez, no wonder it took them so long. And in 1974, it became a national park. Y'all hear the thunder? Yeah. It's a creepy night out there. Sorry I screwed that story up, but there isn't really... They tell more about the history of it and not a whole lot of the stuff that goes on. I mean, they see stuff, hear stuff here, but it's the Dismal Swamp Canal. Well, sorry for me messing that up. I didn't mean to Okay, let's go on with another story. Sorry if I screwed that up. But I think, yep, this is our last story of the show, fellas and ladies. Okay, our last story for the evening is Linda, the ghost of the Jamestown Bridge. Ooh, I'm already scared just thinking about it. North Carolina has its share of ghost tales, unexplained phenomenons, and tales of supernatural. And tales of the supernatural. One such tale comes from Jamestown in Gulford County. It is said that the spirit of a young woman haunts the underpasses of two bridges. One is a railroad bridge over Main Street, currently in use, and the other is an abandoned bridge nearby. The abandoned underpass may be the site of a fatal car accident many years before. The spirit known as Linda has been seen on rainy and foggy nights as she walks alone or stands beside the road searching for her help to get back home. The legend of Linda is based on sightings and stories over the past 70 or more years